He never quite got over this, seething in animosity towards his sister and gradually to his entire family from
that's the breaking point for you. That was the breaking point. Dear Lord.
that point onward.
Let's watch this one. He killed his family to please an underage Walking Dead character. Another fun, happy-go-lucky, positive video, chat. See, aren't you guys glad you turned me on today? Wait, you turn on the stream. The stream, you turn. All right.
When a young man became obsessed with a character from the Walking Dead video games, he developed—
No, not her. Oh, not Clementine. No, not her, bro. Oh, wow.
an infatuation with her so strong that it would take him down a path of pure murderous madness.
Why? Why her? Why Clementine?
Every once in a while on this channel, we'll get someone who's obsessed with a game.
Chat, when everyone says it gets worse when we're 30 seconds in the video, no shit. No shit, we're 30 seconds in a 30-minute video. Yeah, it's gonna get worse, probably. I would say so. Yeah.
We're obsessed with a person, but it isn't all too often that we get someone who's obsessed with a person from a game quite to this extent. So let's start off by taking a brief look into the family at play here. This is the story of the Prosper family, a family living in Luton in the UK, a family consisting of a father, a mother, and their 4 kids. The whole family seemed normal, if not something akin to a wholesome TV family. All of them were regular congregants at their local church and excelled at what they did in life. Juliana, 48 years old, has been described by those close to her as being a strong, loving mother to her 4 children.
The Mogg family?
When she wasn't working her job at a local Sainsbury in Luton, she was an athlete and a volunteer. She'd spend weekends raising money for various charities, always thinking about ways to put other people first. One of her sons was named Kyle. Kyle was a 16-year-old boy who attended a local Catholic school, Cardinal Newman Catholic School to be specific, in the family's neighborhood. He was fairly active in football and boxing, but he was also the creative type. He had a TikTok account where he was starting to make a buzz, with it having been said that he had a lot of potential in the area.
Oh shit!
More than anything though, he just liked to hang out with his friends like any other boy.
A TikToker?
The only daughter in the family was 13-year-old Giselle Prosper. She was described as a lovable kid with a smile that would infect anyone around her. She was doing very well.
Yeah, that ain't football, that's fucking soccer!
At Lee Manor High School,
American
excelling
soccer.
in all of her courses in 9th grade. She really treasured her family, especially her older brothers. One of these older brothers, though, 18-year-old Nicholas, didn't quite fit in with the rest of the family. He was different. Quiet, a bit standoffish, and extremely opinionated.
Oh, goody.
He was said to have been mentally ill, with those close to the family hearing that they had been trying to get him some help for quite some time to no avail. While it isn't known what kind of help he received, it's abundantly clear that it was not enough. When looking into Nicholas's online presence, it's very easy to get a glimpse of his true colors. Nicholas, over the years, has been banned from various different online communities, but that didn't stop him from making new alternate accounts. For a time, he was fairly active on Reddit. One of the subreddits that he particularly enjoyed was called r/WatchPeopleDie, which is pretty self-explanatory from the title alone.
Oh!
This sub was very similar to all of the old-school shock websites out there, showing video clips of real-world violence, executions, accidents, disasters, and even people ending their own lives, hosting anything from videos of car crashes to live feeds of acts of terror. The description for Watch People Die read as follows. Welcome to Watch People Die. This is a community for documenting and observing the disturbing reality of death. This is not intended to be a shock or gore subreddit. Please follow a few basic guidelines. This community is intended to observe and contemplate the very real reality of death.
Is this, like, still a thing?
We are attempting to provide a service by showcasing—
I feel like this wouldn't be a thing right now. Apparently, it's a website? Oh, it is? Dude, this feels like dark web shit. Like, I wouldn't think that they would allow, like, you know, death, like, basically snuff on, you know, just the quote-unquote regular internet.
This content. We value the first responder, military, coroner, and mortician community that participates here. Be careful and be safe. While Watch People Die was fairly prominent in some corners of Reddit for a while, it was during the aftermath of the Christchurch Mosque Massacre that the subreddit really came to be frowned upon. After all, the subreddit hosted the full live version of the video where all 49 deaths were captured there crystal clear on video for all to see.
Oh god.
It was due to this that both r/WatchPeopleDie and r/Gore were removed entirely after Reddit went under fire in the media for hosting the video. Both subs were left with nothing but a message saying that they violated Reddit's policies, saying, specifically our policy against glorifying or encouraging violence. The viewers of Watch People Die weren't all too keen on letting the subreddit die, though, so they decided to move to a new, standalone website modeled after Reddit in order to keep on posting as normal. Nicholas moved to this new platform as well, where he became fairly active over multiple accounts. On these accounts, he mainly posted comments on various gore-related videos in which he would joke, troll, and most notably, argue.
Dude, I knew it. I knew he's a fucking debate lord. Just look at this.
Nicholas displayed a hatred.
Dude, this is the dude who like prowls Reddit and Twitter to argue with anyone and everyone about nothing and talk about how women don't deserve rights and shit like that.
Women in general, who he seemed to identify as feminists no matter what the context.
Oh, okay, there you go. I called it. What did I say?
On various videos of women dying, he would post comments such as, "Bye feminists," or "They're probably feminists," brushing off their deaths entirely.
What did I fucking say? He's a goddamn incel!
On one video where it appears that a young girl took her life after being assaulted, he commented, "Feminist propaganda. She died 'cause the dick was too good."
Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Something that garnered him a lot of downvotes, even on a dark platform like this. It seemed at the time that, if anything, Nicholas was more interested in men. In a thread about the manifesto of the Tennessee shooter, in which the killer was notably transgender, Nicholas commented that reading the manifesto made him rethink his views on trans people and wished that he was a, quote, darling femboy. While that comment may seem bizarre but harmless enough, his other comments where he showed his sexuality were anything but.
An incel hates women but wants to be a femboy. That is a bit weird combination, I'll tell you that much. He's like Elon.
That. On a thread asking about the most painless way people could end their lives, he commented that having gay relations with him would be the best method. On an image of Matthew Crooks, the attempted shooter of Donald Trump, he simply commented, "I think he's cute."
Wait, of Donald Trump? Wait, how recent is this? 2 months ago? What the fuck?
More disgustingly, on another thread about a survivor of the Parkland shooting, Nicholas simply commented that he wanted to put his mouth on the nipples of the guy, getting him even more downvotes than the last heavily criticized comment.
Jesus Christ!
Then, on a video where a man ended his and his child's life on livestream, Nicholas commented that the video made him hard in a very
bro!
excited manner. Even more disturbingly, he took his interest to videos of younger boys. On one video where a boy jumped to his
are his parents? I mean, I guess his parents probably aren't aware. I mean, I assume they probably aren't aware of this.
Death from a building, Nicholas commented on the thud sound it made, writing, 90% of the impact sound was his cheeks clapping. On another in which another boy lost his life, he commented, "Why did no one start jiggling his butt after?" This brings us to what was arguably Nicholas's biggest problem, his unhealthy interest in children. Some comments were not sexual but simply inappropriate, such as one in which he joked that the victims in the Sandy Hook massacre were crisis actors.
He's replying to someone named that. Wow. Okay. I thought that was his name, but never mind. Okay.
Likely a tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic remark towards the conspiracy theory. But it landed flat and got him downvoted regardless. In other posts, though, he began to delve into what would get him banned, even from a shock website.
Bro, how fucked up do you need to be to get banned from a website that is about showing people dying and suicide and killings and all this different shit? Wow.
Nicholas had a cause that he was actually very passionate about, defending relations with children. If he saw an argument against pedophilia, he would take it upon himself to argue against it, usually using some sort of prove to me where's the harm type of argument.
Oh
If
my
anyone didn't wish to
God.
argue with him on this, he would annoyingly rant about how they had failed to counter any of his brilliant arguments or come up with any counter-arguments of their own, failing to see that most people simply didn't see the need to argue that this kind of thing was bad. To most people, it was simply a given that having relationships with children was bad, but to Nicholas, it wasn't quite so clear.
Oh my
Nicholas
God, it's Sneeko. Why? Because he's arguing for pedophiles?
Didn't even like when people used the term convicted pedophile, lashing out with comments such as, "Sorry, what's a convicted pedophile? I don't speak retard." On another thread mocking a similar type of criminal, Nicholas began to argue about the age of consent, saying, "What if she's 17? Where
Oh my God, it is Sneeko!
do you draw the magical arbitrary line?" In others, he argued that statutory charges should not be referred to as rape. Finally, Nicholas decided to go on a long, rambling rant about why he feels that having relations with children isn't bad. When arguing, he would often attempt to write his posts like an academic paper, citing sources and demanding that his opponents do as well. One of these rants was finally the last straw for Nicholas's account. This was when he wrote this big fat bowl of word salad. To avoid inevitable rhetoric and misinterpretation surrounding the legal terms of consent and rape, I'm going to use involuntary and voluntary sex instead. I don't support involuntary sex with children. I do, however, see no issue with voluntary child-adult sex, stemming from empirical findings. And then he cites a source.
Pig is being scolded, it looks like. Enjoy your time out. No, we were talking about food. But anyway... Chat, I'm speaking with my wife. I must be getting scolded, am I right?
Studies purporting harmful long-term effects and pervasiveness due to child-adult sex often use clinical sampling which don't represent the general population of children legally sexually abused. Off the top of my head, clinical samples are vast majority females, and only consist of cases considered serious enough to report, in contrary to the GP, where a large quantity of instances go unreported due to lack of perceived seriousness. There's another source. In addition, these studies count for no confounding variables. What's interesting is when the definition of CSA was made over-inclusive. For college samples...
Dude, I'm honest, I don't even want him to read all this, man. Like, I don't even give a fuck about his stupid, dumbass, like, opinions. Or his arguments, or whatever you even want to call these.
The way of these clinical studies, upon controlling for compounds, family and...
How to explain that you're a pedophile without explaining you're a pedophile? Make an entirely well, quote-unquote, educated argument with source material and everything about why you think that having sex with children is okay. Like,
environment, retrospective perception of willingness, the effect size became almost non-existent, with little remaining values being attributed to unaccounted for variables. Source. With the idea of informed consent as necessary prerequisite to avoid...
I honestly don't care. I'm gonna move on.
Nicholas was finally banned on Watch People Die. Unable to handle this, he immediately made a new account to argue with moderators, saying that he didn't break any rules. The moderator-
Wait, are you sure he's not one of my chatters? That's what my chatters do. Anytime I ban someone or anytime I time out someone, they I go to my mods and then yell at them and leave giant essays about how they shouldn't have gotten banned and shit.
Told him simply that they had a rule not to sexualize children and that Nicholas was doing just that.
He could have been a fan.
Nicholas then argued about the definition of sexualization. The moderators weren't willing to argue with Nicholas in his pseudo-academic fashion, simply telling him that they would unban him if he contributed a video of his own death to the website.
Yo!
He then asked if the mods were mentally challenged to...
Wait, based? Based? Was that a based comment from the mods? Holy shit.
Which they said that they may be, but at least they don't advocate for having relations with children.
Damn, dude! Wow, based furries, it looks like? Got a lot of furry pictures, I guess it's a based furry? I don't know. Damn.
So Nicholas continued to rant that the rule wasn't explicitly defined, so he couldn't have broken it. They simply just banned his new alternate accounts as well. Nicholas, dejected, decided to enter into other forms of social media in order to get his fix. He made a new account on Instagram, where he mainly posted crude drawings. Almost nobody followed him, however he followed a little over 100 people himself. Concerningly, most of the accounts he followed were those of kids, or at least teenagers. One of the pages that he followed was even a memorial page for the child victims of the Sandy Hook incident. Nicholas was a huge fan of the Telltale Walking Dead video games, and that's putting it lightly. He played the games over and over again. These games are made in a choose-your-adventure type style where players' choices will affect the way that the story plays out from then on. Nicholas became extremely infatuated with one of the main characters, a young girl named Clementine. Nicholas became so obsessed with Clementine that he began to use her as his default picture on various forms of
You call this picture Clementine?
social media. He also opened up an account on Pinterest simply for the purpose of collecting pictures of Clementine, collecting hundreds of them. If you remember his old comment about wishing to become a femboy, that actually included a line referencing Clementine as well, one that read, "If not an inter-universal transportee in a Clem-close The Walking Dead game body, I wish I was a darling femboy." This meant that he was so obsessed with Clementine that he wanted to travel to her universe and take over her body, or at least a body very similar. Nicholas, in his own words, began to see Clementine as a sort of religious figure, feeling that he was destined to follow her and do anything he could to support her. Nicholas, not content to keep his love for Clementine to himself, decided to introduce his family to the Walking Dead game.
Bro, I'm not gonna look at this game the same way again. I love this game, and just to see this fucking guy become obsessed with Clementine, it's gonna give me chills now. Yeah. And Clementine is literally the most, like, innocent, like, tragic character, like, throughout the whole fucking game.
To himself, decided to introduce his family to the Walking Dead games, mainly his younger sister Giselle. However, he was appalled with the choices that she decided to make in the game. In the story, there are 2 points in which the viewer is able to choose whether or not to kill human characters in front of Clementine. While Clementine isn't physically harmed, if the player does so, it leaves the young girl traumatized throughout the rest of the game. Giselle apparently chose to make those decisions while playing the game, something that greatly angered Nicholas. He never quite got over this, seething in animosity towards his sister, and gradually to his entire family from
that? That's the breaking point for you. That was the breaking point. Dear Lord.
that point onward. One of the new forms of social media that Nicholas decided to try out was none other than YouTube. His account has since been deleted, and while the text remains here and there, the videos have been mostly lost. Creepily enough, when I tried to watch his videos on the archive, I kept getting nothing but this grudge-esque video no matter what video I clicked. Weird glitch. Luckily, while a lot of videos are gone, they were viewed and described by both DusterFan and No Sheet Facts on YouTube, who documented their contents. Special shout out to them.
It's Freerin.
On his channel, Nicholas mainly continued his arguments from Watch People Die, defending the acts he wanted to commit with children. He even defended people who watched content that was, let's just say, the worst of the worst. While most of the videos themselves were fairly brief, they mainly consisted of complete rambling that was noted as being very hard to understand. If not for the text that Nicholas put into the video's descriptions that clarified his points, it would have been very hard to understand what he was even trying to articulate. In one of his channel's videos that does still remain, he spent a good few minutes arguing against his ban on Watch People Die, saying that he was given a false reason for his ban, claiming that they banned him because they simply didn't like him. He seemed to completely fail to understand why people didn't—
Dude, just go to X, man. It's free speech. Go to X. Elon Musk will love you there, man. Go there. It's free speech.
Really like his comments. He claimed that nobody explained to him what he did wrong, despite the fact that they did explain it fairly clearly.
This video is in reply to the 10th man on Watch People Die. The context of this is that I've been banned for pedo, which basically means I'm banning you because I don't like you, I guess, considering I've broken no rule, and no one is willing to explain how I've broken any rule. I've tried to reason with these people. What I've done is I've made a slew of messages combating misinformation and comments based on empirical findings, and
oh god,
comments made purely for academic purposes.
Dude, this guy's the equivalent of like his entire personality is just the actually
spreading knowledge and understanding on this topic. Not one person was willing to explain to me what I said, how what I said was sexualization, because that is the rule they try to bend in justifying my ban.
Actually, the age of consent doesn't really matter, and shouldn't even exist. and let me explain with facts and logic.
I wrote the definition of sexualization here, and you can read that. There is no sexual objectification anywhere. It really is just combating misinformation, and obviously they have responded.
Oh, that's the Pink Guy Kill Yourself song. I was like, why is Pink Guy here?
With no care, like always.
Accomplishing nothing by ranting about his ban, Nicholas instead chose to post more videos in which he continued his rants. From this point onward, every single thumbnail he would use would be a black and white drawing of none other than Clementine. In the first new video, one called Streamlining Ped
That's a stretch to say that's Clementine, bro.
Discourse, with it being pretty clear what
The
ped
terrifying
means,
Clementine.
Nicholas compared a child consenting to play football with kids consenting to have relations, questioning how the two were any different as they were both physical activities.
What?
The next video was one called Institutionalized Pseudo-Justice and How It Affects Pedophilia. In this video, he mainly posted a huge, extremely long dump of vaguely described sources into a large text file much like he did on Watch People Die, adding that he felt there was no, quote, inherent harm in getting with minors. He posted the file into the description of the video for anyone to download. In a video called 2024 UK Riots, Quick Thoughts, he complained about mass immigration. This lines up with some of his posts on Watch People Die, in which he says that he enjoys watching Indians die and that Muslims should go back to their own countries.
Dude, this guy just checks off every, like, tick in the book. We could play bingo with this guy, to be honest.
In response to Jay Lillen, he basically just responds in his usual manner of arguing to a YouTuber who made a video called Debating the Devil, a video in which the existence of the devil was questioned, a video that Nicholas didn't really seem to enjoy. Even on the video itself, he left similar argumentative comments. The next video—
Wait, those look like my comments. I'm going to respond to your criticisms of the Rhine study. They are complete misunderstandings, at times false, and in some instances, when you remove the data, they had issues with the results becoming stronger, which is extremely embarrassing for you. Your criticism is complete nonsensical garbage and you do not know what you're talking about. Wait, this is my comment section, though. This is actually my comments.
of comments. The next video was a very dark one, possibly even darker than the content up until that point. A video called Responding to Arguments Against Necrophilia. He once again talks about kids, only this time they were being involved with necrophilia. He says that while the dead cannot agree to cremation, they can still be cremated, meaning that it should be fine to also have sex with them. In the next video called You Don't Follow Epistemic Bounded Rationality, Nicholas talks about a wizard who is able to magically conjure up a bunch of fake CP. He wonders if the person who viewed that media would be in the wrong, given that no child was actually harmed. In this video, he notably talks about seeing the notorious dark web video Daisy's Destruction, in which an Australian criminal named Peter Scully tortured a young girl in some of the most brutal, heinous ways imaginable in order to excite his buyers. It's widely considered to be one of the worst things ever shown on the internet, but Nicholas was describing the content within and defending those who have watched it. In the video, he also references what seems to be an imaginary relationship that he is in with Clementine. Finally, we have Kingdom Level Above Human. In this video, Nicholas discusses the afterlife in various religions, even cults such as Heaven's Gate. He wonders how his experience in the afterlife might be. It shows that, at this age, he assumed his life may very well be near its end. Nicholas was never able to forgive his sister, or by extent his family, for the choices that she made in the Walking Dead game. Even months after the fact, he was still horribly offended and bitter towards them.
Oh my god,
While he was able to hide it outwardly, he had come to despise them internally. It came to the point where he decided he couldn't handle it anymore. Nicholas was somehow able to—
No fucking way! No way he murders his family over the choices they made in a fucking game.
A shotgun despite not having the license required in the UK to do so. He went home with it, and there he set up a webcam.
Yeah, I guess choices do matter.
Put on his best bucket hat, and began to film a video. Right away in the video, he clearly states that, due to the decisions Giselle made in the game, he was planning on mutilating her face beyond recognition.
On June 30th, my sister decided to make the only correct choices in episode 1 of season 1 of the Walking Dead games, and for that her face will be mutilated further than necessary.
After mentioning his sister, he turns his attention to a video he saw on YouTube. This was gameplay footage of the Walking Dead game recorded by a channel called Living Echoes. In this video, which was a compilation of the best moments between Clementine and another character, the YouTuber made the same choices that his sister did, appalling him even more. However, he abruptly stops talking about this.
I also recall a video by Living Echoes on YouTube, Best of Lee and Clementine Definitive Edition. It was a compilation, and he decided to kill Larry in front of Clementine, and then I later learned he decided to kill the St. John's in front of Clementine.
Nicholas had actually already posted angry comments on Living Echoes' video about how he felt about the choices he made. Finally, Nicholas went into his religious views involving Clementine, saying that he is her chosen one and compares her to Jesus Christ.
I am the chosen one, chosen by Clementine. I am guided, as Christians are guided by Jesus Christ.
Is Clementine supposed to be God? What?
And there will be no more killings of Larrys in front of Clementine, no more killings of St. John's in front of Clementine, and overall Clementine's content will be preserved, maximized. That's the message I want to give out.
Nicholas then
Don't question it, there's no rationalizing it. I know! I could, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
logged onto Pinterest and uploaded a few more pictures to his Clementine folder one last time. September 13th, 2024. Nicholas pulled out his shotgun and approached his family at around 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
After a confrontation, he shot his mother, Juliana, his sister, Giselle, and his brother, Kyle, killing all three of them. It seems that his father either didn't live with him or wasn't home, as well as his youngest brother.
Wow.
Getting some items for protection, he picked up a few knives from the kitchen. Nicholas then fled the scene on foot. It isn't really clear if he knew where he would go, but he took off running regardless. While several neighbors heard the gunshots, they weren't really accustomed to violence in their area.
All because she made the wrong choices in a fucking video game, man. That's... wow.
The majority of them figured that the noises were that of a car backfiring. Some neighbors, though, did call the police to come check things out just in case. Shortly after the calls were made at around 5:30, the police made their way out to the home. Upon entering, they found that 3 people had been murdered. During a search of the area, they were able to find Nicholas's shotgun abandoned. Police began to fly drones around the scene and over a huge section of river nearby after finding the weapon. Now on the run, Nicholas uploaded his final video to Mega. He then posted the link to the video on his personal Facebook at 6:22 a.m. As news came out about what had happened, the neighbors of the family reacted
Is it a video of him shooting himself or something? That wouldn't make any sense because it wouldn't upload.
in shock.
He's probably gonna kill himself, isn't he? He's probably gonna shoot himself after this.
One neighbor,
That's what they always do.
a nurse who had lived there for 22 years, said, "Everyone gets on here, but there is an undercurrent of bad behavior. I'm shocked. To hear somebody had a gun, never. I walk here late at night and never had a problem, never felt unsafe." Nicholas was finally caught by the police as he ran down Birmingham Road. He was arrested there on the sidewalk as onlookers recorded. To start off, he was charged with possession of a bladed article, the kitchen knives he grabbed, in a public place so that the police could at least keep him under their thumb for a while as they investigated. It became abundantly clear that Nicholas was the murderer. Shortly after, he was hit with additional charges of purchasing or acquiring a shotgun without holding a certificate, and, one day later, possession of a shotgun. It came time for Nicholas to briefly show in court for the first time. At the hearing, the gallery was mainly filled with various members of the remaining Prosper family. He appeared, shackled, with a gray jumpsuit.
Wow.
It was then that his father, Ray Prosper, sobbing, yelled out to him from the stands, "I still love you, son. It's not your fault, okay?"
Oh, Dad, man. Oh.
The deputy
How could you even say that after that? How could you even say
district
that?
judge, Robert Borwick, detained Nicholas into custody and ordered him to appear at the Luton Crown Court for a preliminary hearing in a few days.
Dad,
Until then, Nicholas was locked away. The judge said, "I have no power to consider bail, so you are remanded in custody until that day." While waiting for Nicholas's hearing, those who knew the family were left to reflect on what had happened. They established a memorial for the family outside of the apartment building where they were murdered. A co-worker of Juliana said, She was just the loveliest person. She had a heart of gold. She would speak so highly of her kids. Another friend of Juliana said that she lived for her children and was a positive person who will be so terribly missed. The mother of one of Giselle's friends from her music class also came out to pay tribute. She said, "She was a very sweet girl. She was a very lovely girl. We are all so shocked." Giselle was described by her school as both a beautiful soul and a model pupil. The school's head teacher said, "We are deeply shocked at Lee Manor High School by the tragic incident that occurred on Friday in our local community and devastated by the loss of our pupil, Giselle Prosper. Friends of Kyle's from school said that he was a quiet boy who never made any trouble." One of their mothers said, "It is so heartbreaking. My son was a close friend of Kyle. He was a lovely, smiley, quiet boy. It's so hard to believe that this happened to him and his family." Kyle's school said that the incident was devastating.
I'm curious what his sentencing was. I doubt he got sentenced, or at least it won't be in this video, because if it's as recent as like Trump's assassination attempt, then yeah, I don't know.
As they offered condolences to his family. A statement issued by the school said, "We are shocked by the tragic incident that occurred on Friday in our local community and deeply saddened by the loss of one of our own students, Kyle Prosper. This is devastating news to all those who knew and loved Kyle, and it will take some time to come to terms with the profound sense of loss. We have already sent important information to parents and carers that outlines the support we have in place for students when they return to school on Monday. We know this will be a difficult time for students and staff, and we will do all we can to support them
It
with
happened
love and
last
compassion.
month?
We extend our heartfelt
This happened
condolences
last month?
to Kyle's family on their immeasurable loss, to his friends, and to those in neighboring schools who are coming to terms with their own loss. We pray for all those who have died in this tragic incident." Living Echoes, the YouTube channel that Nicholas talked about in his video, came to find out by his comment section that he was mentioned in the final video before the murders. He didn't take it too well, saying that his videos were only there for entertainment purposes, asking what he should do. I think it's safe to say that nobody really blames him for simply uploading some gameplay footage. He would have no reason to ever believe that it could end up being a factor in something like this. The remaining Prosper family spoke out, saying that they were very grateful for the support they had received from friends, family, the police, and the local community since the murders. A GoFundMe page was set up for the family, quickly raising a pretty good chunk of money to go towards funeral expenses and other costs. Before Nicholas's hearing even came about, the GoFundMe campaign raised about £15,000 of its £20,000 target. One day before Nicholas's hearing, the campaign not only managed to meet but also surpass its goal by the thousands. Nicholas's hearing came about on the 18th of September 2024. The judge, Michael Simon, decided to keep Nicholas in custody until another hearing in December. On December 5th, he would be expected to enter a plea and begin preparing for trial. This was due to the time it may take for an expert report on Nicholas and his mental health issues to be made.
It's not until December.
It would also
probably not until after December that we would know.
Take some time for a full pathology and forensic report to be made on the crime. For now, it has been said that the actual trial may take place in March, but that is subject to change over time. We'll just have to see where this goes. At the very least, at least someone like Nicholas is good and locked up.
Wow.
Once again, thank you for watching.
That was wild. This happened fucking last month, man. That is crazy. Wow. Like, I'm so used to these videos being like, yeah, back in 2015, back in like 2018, you know, like a few years ago. This happened last month, dude. That's crazy. Surprised I didn't hear about this. Let's hope he gets the death penalty. I'm worried about the whole sanity thing because he's obviously not mentally well, but I think he's mentally well enough to realize what he's doing was wrong, you know?
Now it's time to walk away. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Did you laugh or cry or maybe subscribed? I'll thank you either way. You know I will miss you. I hope you return. Tell your friend or your mother to get me more views, please.